So let's say the Rockets are confident that he's coming back by draft night. Do you think that will influence the way that they use the pick or who they might take? Let's just like assume that like Wembanyama, Scoot, Brandon Miller are all off the board. How would
Right.
you rank that next group of prospects and likelihood of Houston actually selecting them?
I think after those three, Amen Thompson is a guy that jumps off the board in terms of the
Yeah.
explosiveness, the upside. You just see the defensive potential, the playmaking. It makes a lot of sense. It ticks a lot of boxes for that young group. But I've always had this thought in my head that if they have some kind of under the table agreement that James is coming back, does that change how things happen on draft night? I think it does because if you know he's coming back, then you can actually really shift to phase two, which is let's bring in veterans. Let's try and see if you think the current free agency class isn't as strong as you'd like, and you don't want to wait until next summer, like 2024, bring in some guys now. And that's kind of what I put out yesterday. It got a lot of responses, but the point was that if you think that James is coming back, or if you know that he's coming back, then you should be more inclined to move that pick because whoever you're getting in is going to help you more or in a greater sense than any 18, 19-year-old kid right now.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that article. You wrote an article yesterday with some fake trades. You got some spirited responses from folks on the internet.
Spirit is one way to put it.
So usually when I read one of these articles, I find that the beat writers tend to overvalue the assets of the team they're covering. In the case of your article, I actually thought you undervalued some of Houston's assets, specifically the number 4 pick. Do you think that the number 4 pick does not currently have a ton of value on the markets because this is seen as like a 3-player draft?
I think because it's seen as a 3-player draft and there's a bit of a gap between the Brandon Millers and the Scoots, then you go to the Amen Thompsons and Cam Whitmore's. I think because of that, that's why you kind of have to undervalue the pick a little bit. Now, if this was last season, top 5 pick is as good as anything. But it just feels like, and hey, there are teams like, for example, the Raptors have called. Like there are teams that still believe that number 4 is a pretty damn good pick, and there are teams that are going to want to acquire that pick. But I'm just speaking in the sense of, teams that have win now veterans. What is the calculus about? Do we think Amen Thompson or Osar Thompson or Kim, are they going to really push the needle? Are they really going to be part of a project that's going to stimulate winning in the next 2 to 3 years? That's what you have to figure out. And that was kind of what I was trying to achieve in the article, but fans took it the entire wrong way. But it's whatever.
What trade do you think pushed the most buttons for the fan base?
Cam Johnson, probably.
Yeah.
I was getting calls from people with the Rockets.
Well, tell people what the deal is and like talk us through it for a second.
It was, what was it? It was Cam. Originally, I was gonna put Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith but the article was Cam Johnson for KJ, Jay Sean, the number 4, and a future first, or giving Brooklyn back the pick. So, yeah, something along those lines. Now, originally, I wanted to include Dorian Finney-Smith in there, and I probably should have. That might have made it, more appetizing for Rockets fans. But I'm assuming that from the responses, they don't see Cam Johnson as that kind of needle mover player to warrant a package of that magnitude. And I understand.
Yeah.
It's Cam Johnson is more of a beauty in the eye of the beholder type player anyway.
Sure.
Like some people see him as, a legitimate player on a title winning team, and some just see him as a good shooter on a role playing shooter. So it's really depending on how you value him. But I do understand. Well, in my opinion, I thought it was a fair trade because, if you don't see long-term value in keeping like KJ Martin or Jay Sean or, the future pick, like if you want to win now, it kind of behooves you to get players that can help. If you're bringing in James, I think a lot of like I said, all my deals were under the assumption that James is coming back.
Yeah.
That was kind of, so you add James, then you have Cam Johnson, you add that to Jalen Green and Jabari. Now you can actually start to cook something, in Houston. But fans the minute they saw the number 4 pick in KJ, it went ape shit. So
well, it's very funny that people with the team would reach out about like a fake trade article. Like, were they worried you were hurting their bargaining position?
No, they weren't. They were. It was just like they were teasing me, because they could see the Shengun hive threatening to punch me in the face or something. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, but no, it's all fun.
Yeah.